So this is going to be a really long story actually, so let's sit down for this. So it all started in my last year of high school. Me and my best friend, her name was Athena. Her name is Athena. But basically, we were inseparable in high school. We even applied to UMich together. We got in together. For my freshman year, I spent every waking second with her, and she ended up being really homesick, and eventually she transferred out to me closer to home. And so I didn't really make many friends freshman year because of this. I just didn't bother to, because I already had my other half, my soulmate almost. Going into sophomore year, I was basically alone. I didn't really have anybody I've met in college. And then my roommate Tyler, actually, he encouraged me to join FunKtion, and I did have a lot of dance experience prior. So I did, and I joined FunKtion, and I made a lot of friends. Hooray.
I was looking for a Cambodian culture club, and I just remember walking around festival, and then Peter Nam and Darren, who are gone now, they were at the FunKtion table with the flyers, and they just said, go ahead. They're like, oh, join. And I wasn't really into that. I just took flyers left and right because I was pretty desperate at the beginning of college. I didn't know anybody. And so they said tryouts were the same day, and I was doing laundry that day, and I felt pretty sick from all the frat hopping from Welcome Week. In the middle of my laundry, the audition had already begun, and I was 45 minutes late. And I was gonna stay if my laundry was gonna finish, but it took longer. So I decided to leave my laundry and go to the audition.
But then my sister was like, oh, I got some friends on FunKtion, this cool team called FunKtion, you should definitely totally audition for this thing too. And I was like, all right, cool. So then I did. Proceeded to get rejected by all of them. But then winter auditions rolled around, and I re-auditioned, and it was great, and the rest is history.
I had joined a K-pop dance group. Immediately upon joining, I got first introduced to the posting wall community, the P-wall community. My dance group actually, as a joke, decided to crash FunKtion auditions and learn the choreo. By the end of learning the choreo, I was like, wait, this is kind of fun. So then I actually decided to sign the form and actually try out.
For me specifically, it was word of mouth. I met this man named Will, and he gave me extensive detail about what goes into the club, the good things and the bad things that come out of it. And from there, I decided it was a good fit, or it was something I was interested in trying. I do know a lot of people do join or do try out because of ads, and a lot of them here are probably heard about the team through ads. So I remember on the flyer them saying that auditions are open to anybody, especially beginners with no experience.
We try to make ourselves feel more approachable, more friendly towards a larger audience. We always say beginner friendly, all levels welcome. Come just for fun if you want. No commitment, no experience needed. That's word for word what we like to use. Of course, going back to the language, we just try to we try to use language that's very inclusive, very inviting.
I think in terms of other stuff that we choose to focus, we want to say it's all male.
We're all male, and that creates the culture. It's oh, well, I wasn't in a culture that normalized male dancing, but here I am watching all these guys dance. So I guess maybe I could try it. So I think that's one thing that makes us unique, because there are male dancers in other dance teams, but across the 10 to 12 dance groups I can think of, there's only one other male dance team, and they're not a hip-hop dance team. So we have a unique niche, a unique specialization in this campus to be an all-male hip-hop dance team.
And we want to say it's open style, and I think the most important thing that we choose to prioritize and make sure that it's always on our flyers no matter what is no dance experience necessary.
Most people, if they happen to be male, they've been dancing for a lot of years, minimum 5, if not all their lives. And it's like a snowball effect. If you've danced before, then you're going to continue dancing. But what's hard is getting someone that's never danced before to start dancing and pick it up, put in all these hours, hundreds, thousands of hours, to do something that they never experienced before that they think is probably feminine. So that, I think culture, the FunKtion culture is a unique one because it supports all male dancing and it supports beginner-friendly dancing too.
A lot of people here have never danced before, and they, just being on FunKtion has turned them into amazing dancers. And not advertisements are both flyers and us advertising during festival. We'll be at the stand, we'll be asking people if they want to join hip hop. We'll be throwing jokes around. Sometimes we'll even have freestyle circles where we'll take turns freestyling in the middle of the walkway.
Their enthusiasm for new people definitely made it a lot easier for me, I didn't really dance much before, so I thought, why not give it a shot? Because all the other groups definitely seemed to be a little bit more serious and a little bit more strict about who they allowed and what those people were expected to do, but FunKtion was a little bit more free.
We try to lean into the sort of hip-hop / cool aesthetic so that we can get as many eyes on our posters as possible. A lot of the K-pop groups have their own, style guides that they adhere to, but FunKtion, we remain pretty lenient about that. It's dependent on whoever wants to make the poster.
When it comes to auditions and ads and spreading the word about who FunKtion is, we're willing to take people that don't have a lot of experience because we got to know them, and that reflects in our decisions during deliberations. We value the person more than the skills that they have.
I like to pride myself as a very individual person. I don't really feel like my language really changed much at all. I feel like I've always been very myself coming onto FunKtion and staying in FunKtion. I think that's partly due to the fact that they really emphasize being who you are. We do consider people's personalities a lot during auditions. So of course, if being myself got me on the team, I never really felt pressure to change, right?
The language that other people use tends to kind of rub off on me personally. And vice versa, right?
Being a high school boy, I think there was certain vocabulary that I was pretty comfortable with. I'm not talking about slurs or offensive words.
I picked something off of Janelle. He says yes sir. He would say yes sir a lot, and I just naturally just started saying that because I was around him. So now I'm so maybe someone wears a super cool outfit. I'm yes sir, good stuff, dude. That's kind of what it means.
But just jokes I would make, or certain lingo or certain slang that I would use. I dialed it back in the years in college before I joined FunKtion. At least when you first meet people, you have to be really careful about how you speak. But with FunKtion, it's just a group of guys. We all say we're brothers.
We have a very, very active Discord channel in which we just talk to each other about really anything. We all have a very close bond with each other in a way that we feel like we can communicate our personal issues, our professional issues, the things that we're having in our lives. Everybody feels comfortable communicating with each other, and that really holds us together, I feel like.
I'm not sure if there are any words that specifically only FunKtion would know.
I mean, there's inside dancing jokes. I can't really think of a good one. It would be based on a context. For example, biting means you basically, it refers to stealing someone's dance. But sometimes you can be very flexible. You do a common move and it's oh, this guy bit this guy. It's there's type of lingo.
Our Hell Week is where we practice every single day we have an agenda, and until we finish what's on the agenda. On average, in my experience, 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. We've pulled last year for Dance Mix, we pulled 2 all-nighters in a row, I'm pretty sure. Why we do this? Because we need it. I mean, if we could choose not to go through Hell Week, we would, but we have to because things just wouldn't look as good without it. So,
community, support, camaraderie, brotherhood is a big one in FunKtion. We're not a frat.
As you know, one of our favorite phrases is "shot." And as we also know, it doesn't really actually mean anything. It's kind of a thing we say as a joke mostly. It's oh, haha, you messed up. It's a fun thing we do. And I don't really feel like we have a lot of FunKtion-wide inside jokes or languages that really vary. We have certain humor that aligns with the entire team.
FunKtion Funny is an inside joke that is only funny to those that know it. So the 18 people, and we avoid it because the other 300 to 1,300 people will not find it funny.
Sure. So there's like catchphrases, there's like inside jokes and stuff like that. But all of that evolves over time depending on who's active in the group.
We have these designated names.
So the way it's defined is through the number of dance mix performances that you have attended and performed with FunKtion.
Newbie is someone who's done 0 dance mixes. So dance mix is one of our biggest performances of the year. It's a power center, 1,300 seats. So newbies, 0 dance mixes. Tweenies, 1 dance mix, and oldies, 2 or more. But you can technically have a member that's been on the team for like 3-4 years, but still be a newbie. That implies that they skip every dance mix. So that's definitely possible. We've had a person do that.
I think the system is really clever because this ensures that all oldies are upperclassmen no matter what. Even if you join first, like fall of freshman year, you can only be an oldie when you're a junior. The tweenies don't have a designated role within the team. I think it's like a person by person. Some people choose to take more of a leadership role. Some people are just there for fun. Some people are there to be better dancers. I think I fall in 2 of those 3 categories. I'm not going to say which ones. Me specifically is setting a precedent for how people should behave. I think that's something that I try my best to do within the team.
In general, oldies manage the team at the highest level, and they deal with all of the logistics, all of the internal conflicts, all of the management, stuff like that.
They're expected to keep the tradition alive, especially when it comes to like alumni coming for bar night performances.
So my role is to make sure that the team does not explode.
And when alumni come, it's an oldies responsibility to have educated all the current members about how much they mean to us and how important the history is to the team. So FunKtion's history is just as important as its present.
But the most important role for an oldie, in my view, is to make sure that everyone on the team is gaining everything that they can from the team and growing as much as they can personally.
If we can get to performance day, that is what matters. It will sometimes be a little rough. You just have to high-key micromanage people. Usually oldies take on a lot of burden in terms of scheduling and management, and the newbies and tweenies have a lot of fun. The cycle is typically they have so much fun that when they become an oldie, they are kind of encouraged to do the same management that is stressful, but that leads to their newbies and tweenies enjoying the process.
I'm not actually an oldie, but as an honorary oldie, the role of an oldie, of course, is to supply the alcohol. It's to provide an upstanding example for the team, to lead the team, to deal with certain issues so that our newbies and tweenies can have the best time that they possibly can. Because I know when I was a newbie, I had a hell of a time not worrying about anything. And now it's my turn to give that back to the community.
FunKtion is the democracy.
The main word is unanimous. FunKtion is united when it comes to any decision we make. And that's shown through our deliberations, especially when it comes to rather difficult decisions about who we're willing to take and who we have to unfortunately let go.
Inevitably, there will be a disagreement on how things should be handled, or even down to the choreography, how a certain move should be done. And language is very important when resolving these conflicts because you have to remain, to some extent, neutral while recognizing that, I guess, both sides are, you have to validate both sides at the same time.
We're always mindful of each other. We all care about each other a lot, and so none of us ever want to offend each other. And obviously, our language reflects that, right? We use our language and our words to, a lot of time, apologize if we took things too far or got too heated, right? Because that happens sometimes. Any team will have those. But we always use our language. We're very open about communication on the team. If there's any sort of conflict, we talk about it. Right?
It's never one person deciding for the team, and it's never an oldie having more say than a freshman or a new member, a newbie. Every person has equal say.
I think other dance groups specifically, they definitely have a more professional way of running things. There's an organized hierarchy. It's very business. And I think FunKtion doesn't have that strong of a structure on that sense. And I think it prioritizes more freedom and like being able to, again, express yourself. And I think that's what really sets us apart. It does hinder our efficiency as a group in terms of getting things done. It's something that always comes up. It's a debate that, you know, has haunted FunKtion for as long as it's existed, as far as I know. But I think the benefits of having such a loose culture and having like a culture where, you know, it's not just like disciplined or like as strong of a social hierarchy, is that as a group, FunKtion is one of the closest student orgs, like even, like not even dance groups, just like any student orgs in Michigan. Like I'm very confident that we are one of the closest groups because we have this kind of culture.
I think one phrase that we used to say a lot, and we kind of do still, is, you know, we'll burn that bridge when we get there. We're never too worried about the future. You know, no matter how inefficient our practices are, and no matter how much we goof off, in the moment it's frustrating, but I think what people outside of FunKtion don't understand is that inefficiency is what makes us the best group to be a part of.
I think I've made a lot of good friends that I think I'll have for, you know, the rest of my life. I made some very good friends here.
We're not a dance group, honestly. Like we focus so much on community, on growth, on like caring about people. Honestly, dance is secondary to our brotherhood.
Even in our ads, we really home in the fact that we are more than just a club. We're like a family for, you know, anybody who wants to join and has that passion to learn or to be a dancer.
Even as a first impression at auditions, you see that everyone's there just to have fun, to meet people, to hang out, and the energy really shone through at auditions.
FunKtion members know their auditionees' names. That's different from any other group. No other group ever takes the time to remember you other than the number that they put on your chest.
At the end of the day, like, dancing is a means to connect with other people on this team, and I know that other dance teams don't really have the same experience.
I gotta say, the Hell Weeks are the best part because that's where FunKtion shines, when everyone knows that FunKtion is a little different, and FunKtion is so crazy when it comes to Hell Weeks that every other group sees us as almost stupid, but we come out of Hell Week cleaner, stronger, and closer. If it wasn't for Hell Weeks, I wouldn't be as close to some of the members as I am now.
But at the end of the day, we're always there for each other. And it's this really close family sort of community that we have. It's not like we cannot guarantee we're not gonna let each other down. But what we can guarantee is that we're always gonna give our best effort for each other, yeah.
My favorite memory of FunKtion is burned into my memory. It is our first dance mix coming out of COVID. It was a time when we had 3.5 Hell Weeks back to back to back. And everyone was so tired. I think we had several 6, 7 a.m., 8 a.m. nights for practice back then. But then we have this ritual with our sister group, Encore. It's called Senior Circle. So after we do showcases of our sets to each other, you get all the groups in this one super big circle and pass it on from senior to senior and have them talk about their favorite experience or like what this dance team means to them. And it is 2+ hours of just everyone crying straight. And there's this one specific image of all of FunCore posing together with, I think, like generations of alumni who also came back just to say hi and watch us. And it's this super low quality image because it was sent on GroupMe of all places. That was back before we used Discord. And it was, thinking back to it, it's always just so heartwarming.
And no matter who comes and who leaves, FunKtion it's a community. So even though you're not physically there and you might have graduated already, you'll always be part of FunKtion because your personality is tied to it and it's tied to you. So, I'm always proud to say that FunKtion is part of me.
What I'm gonna miss is the place that we dance, P-Wall. You can go in at any random time, like 9 p.m. through, 8 p.m. through 1 a.m., and you will probably see a FunKtion member unless it's like a Saturday or exam week. You will definitely see someone you know, and you can just chat with them, you can freestyle with them, you can do random stuff with them. But that's the thing I'm gonna miss is I'm just gonna go to P-Wall, I wanna dance, I know someone from FunKtion is gonna be there. But, you know, when I graduate, there's no more P-Wall, there's no more FunKtion. And, you know, you gotta arrange stuff now. When you're in P-Wall, when you're on FunKtion, you can just go to P-Wall spontaneously. You know, it's not, you don't have to really plan anything. So I'm gonna miss that spontaneousness.
And I think a function is like an outlet, a way of like escaping from the real world. Because we are all going to grow up and be adults one day and have jobs and be professional in whatever fields we choose to find ourselves in. And I think function is a nice reminder that we can still enjoy ourselves. This is a community where we can enjoy ourselves and just, you know, escape the outside world. You know, it's not going to last forever, but you know, the memories we make here, I think, are very valuable.